Chapter 8. Travel to the Future. It was at 10 o'clock today that the time machine began its career. I gave it a last tap, tried all the screws again, put one more drop of oil on the quartz rod, and sat myself in the saddle. I felt the wonder and apprehension of what would come next. I took the starting lever in one hand and the stopping one in the other, pressed the first and almost immediately the second. I seemed to reel. I felt a nightmare sensation of falling, and looking round, I saw the laboratory exactly as before. Had anything happened? For a moment I suspected that my intellect had tricked me. Then I noted the clock. A moment before, as it seemed, it had stood at a minute or so past 10. Now it was nearly 3:30. I drew a breath, gripped the starting lever with both hands, and went off with a thud. The laboratory got hazy and went dark. Mrs. Watchett came in and walked, apparently without seeing me, towards the garden door. The night came like the turning out of a lamp, and in another moment came tomorrow. Tomorrow night came black, then day again, night again, faster and faster still. The sensations of time traveling are excessively unpleasant. There is a feeling of a helpless headlong motion. As I put on pace, night followed day like the flapping of a black wing. The dim suggestion of the laboratory seemed to fall away from me, and I saw the sun hopping swiftly across the sky, leaping it every minute and every minute marking a day. I suppose the laboratory had been destroyed, and I had come into the open air. As I plunged ahead, I saw the moon spinning swiftly through her quarters from new to full, and a glimpse of circling stars. As I gained velocity, the night and day merged into one continuous greyness. What a kind of madness growing upon me! I flung myself into futurity. Presently a fresh series of impressions grew up in my mind. What strange developments of humanity! What wonderful advances upon our civilization appeared when I looked into the dim, elusive world that raced before my eyes. I saw great and splendid architecture rising about me, more massive than any buildings of our own time. Even through the veil of my confusion, the earth seemed very fair, and my mind came round to the business of stopping. Like an impatient fool, I lugged over the lever, the machine went reeling over, and I was flung headlong through the air. I may have been stunned for a moment. When I looked round me, I found myself in a little lawn in a garden, surrounded by rhododendron bushes. I noticed that their mauve and purple blossoms were dropping under the beating of the hailstones. In a moment I was wet to the skin.
"Fine hospitality,"
said I,
"to a man who has travelled innumerable years to see you."
As the columns of hail grew thinner, I saw a large white figure of white marble, somewhat like a winged sphinx, but the wings, instead of being carried vertically at the sides, were spread so that it seemed to hover. The sightless eyes seemed to watch me. There was a faint shadow of a smile on the lips. It was greatly weather-worn and looked diseased. I stood looking at it for a half-minute, perhaps, or half an hour, as it seemed to advance and recede. Then I saw that the hail curtain had lifted, and there was a faint promise of a sun. I was very apprehensive. If in this course of time mankind would have become cruel, unsympathetic, and overwhelmingly powerful, full of fear, I turned frantically to the time machine and tried to readjust it. As I did so, the shafts of the sun broke through the thunderstorm. I looked more curiously and less fearfully at this world of the remote future. In a circular opening, high up in the wall of a nearer house, I saw a group of figures, clad in rich soft robes. They had seen me, and their faces were directed towards me. Then I heard voices approaching me, and saw the heads and shoulders of men running through the bushes. One of these emerged in a pathway leading straight to the little lawn upon which I stood with my machine. He was a small creature, perhaps 4 feet high, and clad in a purple tunic, girdled at the waist with a leather belt. Sandals were on his feet, his legs were bare to the knees, and his head was bare. Though a beautiful and graceful creature, He was indescribably frail. At the sight of him, I suddenly regained confidence. I took my hands from the machine. From The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, adapted. Apprehension, anxiety or fear that something bad or unpleasant will happen. Real, to lose one's balance and stagger from side to side. Intellect, a person's mental powers. Apparently, as far as one knows or can see. Excessively, to a greater degree or in greater amounts than is necessary or normal. Headlong, with great haste, with the head foremost. Plunged, pushed or thrust quickly. Velocity, speed. Elusive, difficult to describe, find or remember. Lugged, dragged with great effort. Rhododendron, a bush or small evergreen tree with large clusters of bell-shaped flowers, grown as an ornamental plant. Sphinx, a mythical creature with the head of a human and the body of a lion. Hover, remain in one place in the air. Frantically, in a hurried, excited or disorganized manner. Girdled, encircled around the body, frail, weak and delicate.